thrilled to be here. You cannot believe it, because the community day is somehow a starting point for me, and to understand the future, sometimes it's okay to look at the past as we do here. And yeah, I don't want to get emotional, so thank you for being here at the SCD at the start, where it all began, and to give me the honor to present to you one future tool which might be really handy for you, but we'll see. Well, it's about composable frontends, but before that, real quick. As I was kindly introduced by my buddy Christian today, my name is Ramona. I'm working as a software engineer at Shopware, and sometimes I'm known for, I'm called some names like Google Developer Expert for Web Technologies, Woman Tech Maker Ambassador, Cypress Ambassador. It hints to a niche which I like to cover when it comes to public speaking, articles, stuff like that. But today, I'm not here to convince you why testing is important or keeping an eye on quality. Today, it's a front-end topic. And yeah, I will dive into a little past fact of me. And don't worry, it's just a small fact. I don't want to tell you stories from my childhood too much, so please don't worry. But my way of breaking into tech was not the typical, oh, I love video games, I want to mod. It was through art. And yeah, basically as a child, I started to draw a lot. And especially in my high school time, I wanted to show my drawings, my art, my cartoons or comics. And I don't want to use stuff like DeviantArt or Animex or all those portals you might have seen, because I don't want to be default. That sounds a bit arrogant, hopefully not, but I want to have the portal where I present my art to be like me, to have my fingerprint, to be adaptable to me, but not too complex. So you cannot Google my first websites, hopefully. If yes, please hit me up with a drink, because props to you then. But it might be a guilty pleasure to see them, hopefully. They are not that great, but yeah. I think you want to know, why do I tell you that? It's because being a developer, the complete area, at least from front-end development, may be complete development. And art had one important fact in common, at least in my opinion. And it's a significant connection. It's basically a shared goal when it comes to the audience. May it be you as an audience watching my hopefully not that bad drawings on those slides here, or may it be a customer in an online shop, a simple user using your applications, your projects, or a person visiting an art gallery. We all have one shared interest. It's all about connecting with your audience in some way. So yeah, it doesn't matter which is the audience. But I'm still convinced that, especially in e-commerce, this is really important, because think, who are your users? They are customers, hopefully soon. So we want to spend that the user is taking some time at your website, interact with it, liking it, taking a look at products, maybe even buying those, right? You need to have a wonderful user experience for it. So we want to have this wonderful experience for our audience as shop owners, as developers. And yeah, when I think about online shops, I sometimes think like, okay, I can see a pattern in some online shops. Shopware shops do look like shopware shops in certain ways, and I guess for other online shop, right, it's the same. And as I said before, I don't want to showcase my pictures the way everyone does. I still want to have the features of an online shop, but with my own fingerprint, with my own sense of adaptability. But still, at the same time, I like shopware. I don't want to rewrite complete shopware, right? So it's complicated to do that. It might take some time to do it. And as I know that shopware is a good system, why can't I just pick the thing I need? For example, when I'm writing blog articles, and if I get comfortable enough someone as a teacher, maybe I want to sell courses on my blog, which is no online shop whatsoever. That might be an interesting use case. Having my own imprint on my online shop. So what now? Should I try to build my blog on Shopware and hope that for the best and that it looks like not an online shop? But I don't need to be worried about that, because you saw the little title here, Composable Frontend, might be something which could help us. So if you don't want to rebuild your own online shop completely anew, maybe this is a framework which you might want to take a look at. So it's about Shopware Composable Frontends. Well, as said, it's a small framework to provide e-commerce functionality to you without giving you a complete locked-in experience, so that you can pick the one stuff you need and to focus on the thing which matters to you most, to design your own custom experience without having overboarding complexity in your online shop. So, yeah. Still, we have a small tech stack, which I want to showcase to you, but it's not completely limiting you. So, in general, we are using for the main part, which I cover in a bit, Vue 3. We will use Vite as well. And if you want to have a starting point, a template, you can use a Nuxt template for it. So there's still a little bit Vue framework part. If you don't want to start only with one part, but we will see it in a minute. But still, a really slight tech stack. And if you want to have some more ways of styling your online shop, you can still implement Tailwind. We have a template for that too. But you're not locked to that. That is really important to know, because you can choose the thing you want to work with. And you can, the other thing, when it comes to framework, when it comes to styling, when it comes to all the means you need, you can completely decide for your own and focus on building the best experiences you want to have. Okay, I can tell you lots of stuff, right? So let's start to apply a small reality filter onto it and see how it looks like in detail. And start with a data source. Of course, we need some point where e-commerce functionality comes from. It won't spawn out of the blue, right? So yeah, there is Shopware 6 as a data source, or to be more precise, the Store API. But it doesn't need to be the only data source you want to use. You can include CMS functionalities from other providers, or analytics, or basically any source you want. Additionally, then we get to the logic. There's first the API client, and you are free to only use this client if you want to. So if you want to try out React, the API client might be compatible to that. But the second point is a bit Vue related. It's a part called composables. Those composables will encapsulate some e-commerce functionality, like a little building brick. And this is basically the center of Shopware Composable Frontends, which we will dive deeper, of course, too. But just for now, you know, this is an important part. Then you can use CMS base, for example, or, yeah, basically anything. So the composables will get the data from Shopware by the API client, which is together with the source. And yeah, they help us to help you provide e-commerce functionalities as well. And I guess I fast-forwarded a little bit too much, so tiny spoiler alert. But well, that's about it. So when it comes to the template, of course, as said, we have some basic templates to provide you a really tiny Nuxt template. So not too much lock and still, but if you want to use it, feel free to do it. If not, API client or only composables is possible too. Then, on top of that, you can build your own front components using those composables. And CMS components or other components you need to build for the other data sources is doable too, the way you want to. And yeah, I dropped the word composable a couple of times now. It's even in the title of Composable Frontends, as it's the soul of it, basically. So we see here a little screenshot from a product detail page, but you could apply it to a complete full-blown online shop too. So imagine this online shop built from really small, tiny blocks, like Lego, for example. I hope you guys played Lego in your childhood too. I loved it. And it continued with Minecraft, yeah, basically cliche, I think. But it's the same way we hope that you will be able to build your online shops, like building some small automatizations in Minecraft, or building like Lego buildings, I don't know. So every small shop functionality is one composable. That means we have a lot of composables, of course. But yeah, you can basically take the composables you want. And for the people who didn't work with Vue 3 before, just a little tiny hint, a composable is a function by the Vue Composition API, encapsulating small functions and giving them to you, encapsulated. So basically like Lego bricks. And yeah, I guess hopefully I was able to make you curious, but let's dive a little more detail. Let's go a little bit closer to Composable Frontend. Let's take a look at some code and see how it looks like in real life. So, okay, when I think about an e-commerce workflow, for example, for my blog, I think this one, building a little product card, displaying all product information, might be something every shop would like to do, right? So let's take it as a small example to not waste your time too much. Time of others is valuable, so we stick to this one. But yeah, still I want to showcase you the complete workflow. Of course, if you set up composables on your system, you need to fulfill some requirements, which is, of course, some shopware installation somewhere you can get the data from. But if you just want to play around with composable frontends, that doesn't mean you need to have a full-blown installed shop at your disposal. There's a pre-configured demo instance if you just want to play around with it. So we got you covered. Another point, which is a fixed requirement actually, is using Node. This is important, especially for the API client, and this is the only thing we cannot get rid of as a requirement. So when it comes to using Node, you need to use either version 16 or 18 in long-term support. And last but not least, you need to have one package manager to set up the project. And that could be npm, pnpm, yarn, whatever you want to use, but you need one. Okay, this is basically a little screenshot of the blank template, which we provide to you in our documentation. So this small Nux template to start from. And yeah, I will use it in the showcase here too. And don't worry, I got you covered with a Stackblitz instant and a repository. So please check it out. Please tear it apart and tell me. But we want to make this little blank template into a full online shop. This one is the full online shop template if you want to have the full-blown composable frontend experience. But, well, the questions we ask is like, how do we get the blank template to some real online shop? So yeah, let's get to our little example. So typical checking out the repository, cloning it, installing it with a package manager of your choice. I guess people, especially when it comes to JavaScript world, might be familiar to this installing the internet thingy when it comes to NPM. I didn't say that loud. And then using a little script or however, or which command you desire to start your application. And when I installed Composable Frontends, this is the root directory structure you will see. And I want to pick one important thing which you should configure basically as the first step you want to do, environment files. You might have stumbled upon one in your life, I guess. And of course, we need to have it for this project too. And as said, you don't need to have an own shopware instance if you don't want to. You can use a pre-configured one, but of course it's more prettier to test it out with real data or real project data, which you have. So for getting your project running and connected to your online shop, you need to have the API URL, so basically the URL of your online shop, and the API access token, which is basically the context token of your sales channel. So API things. You may have heard about it. Okay, back to the directory structure. To give you a little overview, this blank template, being a Nux template, is a typical Nux project with the Nux configuration file, with the app.vue, which is the entry point component, how I like to call it, because it basically is the entry point of a single-page application. And the component folder, where we can have the fun of building our own components. And yeah, when I picture a wonderful product card, we could think about the Tailwind one. To make it a bit easier for this example, I picked the default one. Maybe I will apply some more style to make it look a little bit more shopware-ish. I don't know. But yeah, this is the cart I want to build. And if I think about, okay, which building block, which composable might be best to start for a showcase, it might be this displaying product information. And the use product search composable got you covered when it comes to that. So we use it, but before we do it, yeah, we have a blank component created in our component folder. I will import it, like you see here, and I will use it in my app.vue file. That's the way I'm used to other Nux or Vue projects. But I will show you the little component product card.vue, which I created. It's this one with a little script section and a template section. I shortened the not that important parts out for having a hopefully good readable slide. But the most important point is this one, where we import the use product search composable, put it into a constant, and use another constant to store the product using the search, and I'll use a random product ID for this example. And then we have every information for our product at our disposal in this component. And then we will do exactly that. We will use this composable in our template. As you see here, we can get the product media URL to display the picture, to display a little alt text, because we want to be accessible. I hope you want to be. But this is a topic for a new talk. Maybe next time, if I may. And the product name, of course. So it's easy to access them. It's no problem at all. And of course, that's not it. If we want to display a product in a cart, we might possibly need a price, right? And we might need to take care of the formatting too. And therefore, we use other composables. As said, small, really small encapsulated building blocks. So we will use the use price composable to get the formatted price and all the formatting we need. And we will get the unit price, which is the use product price composable to get you this unit price. And we will use some reference on a product to pass it in to get the right product and the right prices we want to. And last but not least, we are again using it in the template. And yeah, this is basically all we need to do. I do some tailwind magic here off screen just to have a wonderfully styled product card and to cut some time again. But you can find all of this in my repository. You will get a QR code for that later. So it's not faked, don't worry. Even if I'm used to when it comes to mocking stuff, but not this time, not this time. It looks like this. Wonderful. But did you see there's something more which I didn't cover in my talk yet? I added something like shadow added, like shadow patched, just as an addition. Maybe additions are okay, I don't know. I added a little button which says add to cart, because I was like, okay, we have some more time left, and what is an e-commerce showcase of Composable Frontend without a small cart process, right? So let's extend this little example for a simple cart. A really simple one, don't worry. It's not complex, really not. But of course, for having a proper cart, you need a bit more building blocks, a little more Lego bricks to build with. So we need an add to cart composable to add something to a cart. I don't know if I forgot to mention it here or if I didn't want to clutter the slide too much, but we need a refresh composable to refresh the cart too, if we want to stay up to date in our view later on. And for all the information, because we have to fulfill some laws and stuff, we need stuff like cart items to display everything, and all the sums like subtotal, taxes, whatever we need. So there's a little bit more to use, but let's start with the add to cart composable first. We will use it the way we are used to in the product cart too, adding the use add to cart composable with the product as a parameter. And then, yeah, add a little button with a click event, basic Vue stuff, using this constant of add to cart. Then, I guess we need a new component for the cart to display it. And the add to cart already maintains the cart in the background, but as said, I don't want to talk only. I want to prove that it's actually working. So yeah, let's build a component for the cart. And there you see some more composables we need, like the cart items, the refresh cart, total price. Every little function is one composable each. This is the most important thing to remember. Remember through repetition, I know. On mounted, I will take care that the cart is always up to date, so I will use the refresh cart here. So every time when my component is mounted, it should be refreshed. Basic stuff when it comes to Vue. And yeah, then it's again using the data in my cart. For example, iterating through the cart items to show them with a quantity, a label, all the stuff we maybe need. And of course, same like in the product cart, I want to have the right formatting. So again, get formatted price of the total price. And yeah, I didn't do it in the slide yet because of space reasons, but you need to do it with all sums, like all sums. But you can have everything related to the products, to the cart, all data, all information you need by using those composables. Okay, how does it look like now? So we can add something to the cart, we can remove stuff from the cart, we have all the sums we need, and the formatting we need. So, yay, we built our first little composable frontends application. Woohoo. And yeah, thank you. But of course, please, there's a StackBlitz instant if you want to play around with it right away. Or later on, there's a repository. The QR code will come. And please tear it apart. Please be mean to my example. I want to have everything when it comes to feedback to improve myself too. And give at least some feedback to others if I'm not able to improve yet, because I'm not a pro right now. Yeah, really, this is the most important thing to remember from this quote. Composable other things. All things are composable in composable frontends. Composable, composable. I guess we got it already, the hint. Yeah, we have not only composables for the cart, for the product. It can be a wish list. It can be user handling. It can be basically everything you know from Shopware. So yeah, I guess they are all listed in the documentation if you want to see what's there. So yeah, try to build your shop with these things. So yeah, this is one of the most important point of my talk. But I wanted to prove you that if you don't want to go into that complexity of building a shop yourself or porting all the Shopware stuff to it, Composable Frontend might be a good idea to check out. So you really don't need to worry about any e-commerce specifics. You can use them from the get-go as building blocks without diving into the business logic or calculations, all this daunting stuff you don't want to learn, maybe, because you want to focus on building UI. Yeah, you can focus on it. Okay, so if you want to learn more about it, there's the documentation. It's up to date. You can see all composables. You can see the templates to play around with it, and of course you can see documentation on how to build it in existing projects too. There's this small example application I built as a repository, so please check it out. Please tear it apart. Please test it. Find bugs. I love that. And if you got any more questions, this is a link to the community Slack at Shopware. I will be there, but I'll also be basically around here today. And you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Mastodon. My handle is always the same, Leichtekig, or my first name and last name. So yeah, find me, ask me, and I hope to connect. It's nothing else more than thank you for your time and for listening to me, and see you around, I think.